Hey y'all, it's Christy from Teadoddles. It is the last day of the Maker Advent Calendar. I can hardly believe it, but I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this with y'all, and I hope that everyone that purchased one has enjoyed it as well. It is Christmas Eve, so this is going to be a little later than some of the others. I'm sure y'all will understand. My son and I have been lounging around playing games, and we're going to be making some candied bacon here shortly. So today, your last package will have a button, and now I'm going to tell you all the buttons are different, and I picked them out of my vintage button stash, or my button jar that I bought at the yard sale. It had a bunch of older buttons in it. Okay, and then you should have another stitch marker, and I believe I put a T in there with that one. I can't remember for sure, but I think that's what I put in the last one. So I'm going to add a button to this, and someone asked me about ironing this fabric. If you do need to put something over this fabric, a pressing cloth or just a piece of cotton or something over it to iron it, because this will stick to your iron because it is velvet, it's polyester. So yes, you do need to put something over this before you iron it. You can alternatively just iron it from this side and it would be fine. Okay? Alright, so mine's not looking as great as some of y'all's probably is, because I just kind of winged it, honestly. So we're going to put a buttonhole here, but first we need to measure our button. Okay, so get your button where you think you want it to be. I'm going to kind of put mine here. The button itself will go in this portion. And then I need to mark it for the height of my buttonhole. Ooh, sorry, my dog. Hold on. Okay, let's try this again without barking. I don't know what he's fussing about, but he needs to be quiet. Alright, so I've marked me just a start and ending spot for my buttonhole. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? There we go. You see the two little lines. Okay. So if you have a buttonhole foot or buttonhole option on your sewing machine, you can just do that. I'm going to show you how to do one by hand. I am actually using some of the embroidery thread because this will go much faster using this. I've got 2 strands together, and I'm using my needle that came with the embroidery we did, which I haven't finished mine yet. No worries. I will finish it eventually. So get me a knot going. Alright, so first thing I'm going to do, and this might sound a little weird, but this is the way I do it to hide my buttonhole, my knot, is I'm going to go in the side seam here. Just find it easier if I find a spot, especially since I did hand stitching on that. And I'm going to go up to that point that I made, that mark I made. Then now my needle, my knot went right in there, and I don't have to worry about showing through, because now I'm going to go through both layers for my buttonhole. So first thing I'm going to do is go around that little mark a couple of times. So I'll go down around it one time. It'd be better if I showed it here, wouldn't it? Now what I'm doing is trying to go, if I can get my needle to go back in the hole that I came in. Alright, there we go. I'm just reinforcing that end. Don't pull out thread. Come on now. There we go. Kind of like your, if you have a sewing machine, your buttonhole stitch does that. It goes back and forth at the top of the stitch. It actually puts a line of stitching down before it goes back and forth, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to reinforce this top bit. I got off of it a little bit right there to be alright. And then I'm going to kind of pick a center point. Okay? I'm kind of picking a center point, but I'm staying off the center. I'm going slightly over from the center, because you got to leave a little gap so you can actually snip this open, okay? And then I'm just going to go right beside that, and I'm going to come up. I'm just doing a satin stitch, so I'm going to come up right beside the other stitch. And go back and forth just like that. You do want to do one side, and then I'll reinforce the bottom. You can't go back and forth to the sides because, let me turn this way so maybe I can see what I'm doing better. Okay. There we go. Yeah. Just making really a little satin stitch back and forth down one side. It does take a minute to do this, but it takes even longer if you use basic sewing thread, which is why I'm not going to do that. Hold on just a second now. Okay, I had to get my chair to sit in. I don't know why I try to do this standing up every time. It's much easier if I just sit down and just try to keep an eye on making sure I'm in the actual frame. So I hope everybody is having a wonderful Christmas Eve, if that is what you celebrate. I do celebrate Christmas. This one's been a little bit different for me. As some of you may know, it's been a very quiet Christmas Eve compared to others I've had, compared to other Christmases, period. It's been very quiet. But I think it may be that way for other people, for some other people too. But we will be going to my parents' tomorrow. It's just going to be my parents, me and my son, and my niece and nephew and my uncle. That is it. Just a small Christmas gathering. But my thread does not want to stay out of a knot. It needs to be. And sometimes it does that. I just you have to rub it and get, or let the twist come out of it. Run my fingers down it. It's just twisting up, which is the pain in the bahookie, right? Alright, get back in there. Alright, so I think you'll get the gist of it. So I'm going to go back down and finish this off, and then I'll be right back, okay? Okay, I've got my little buttonhole stitched up. It's not the best one, but not too bad. I'm a bit out of practice on things like that. But yeah, so now we gotta fasten off the end. And so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make me a knot. Normally I would make it straight down butt flush, but I'm gonna leave it a little bit of room on it because I want to kind of tuck it away into my work so I didn't make as big of a knot. So I'm gonna go right here beside the edge of this and get my needle on out the side like that. I'm gonna pull that up under there. Alright, and I'll kind of pull it up some, cut it off. There we go. Got me a buttonhole. So now normally I would take my seam ripper and go right down the center of that, but mine's a little wonky. So I'm going to use these scissors to be sure I don't, or try not to cut any of the stitches I did. We'll see how well I get through here. Not too bad. I'm going to go up a little deeper up there. There we go. There's me a reinforced hand stitch buttonhole. How about that? So now I just got to put my button on. So it goes right about there. Let's set that down. I got to put a knot. I'm going to use this to sew my button on as well. It's a little less times going through the buttonhole with this. A little bit. Oh, I pulled it off my needle. Be alright. I will get it back on there. I always fold mine in half to do this. I find that easier than trying to get that end just right to go through there, personally. Alright, so I'm not going to try to hide my knot in this since it's not lined. Just going to come up right there. And I'm sure y'all have done buttons before, but I actually have a post on my website about sewing on a button. It was called Ode to the Button or something like that, because it had some things in there about the history of buttons. So you might find that interesting. This would have been easier if I had to turn this inside out, but of course I didn't do that. Alright. I'm going to go through a couple more times. What in the world? Oh. Got some thread trying to hang on there. Y'all, it's been raining here all day. My son and I have been just lounging around. It was storming earlier. It is not storming anymore, but it's raining a good bit. Y'all, I keep pulling that thing off. And the temperature is a dropping. It's going to be it's supposed to get down to like 28 tonight, and then it's going to be only in the low 40s tomorrow, which is cold for us, which I'm excited because it's been a while since we've actually had a cold Christmas. So that's nice to have for us down here in South Georgia. Now that I've gone back and forth a couple times, I'm going to come up right up under here, and I'm going to wrap this around a couple times. What that does is just help lift your button up a little bit so it's not completely flush and make it easier to grab when you need to button it. And then I'm just going to go right back down in there. If I can get my needle to go. What is going on here? Alright, I'm off the camera. There we go. Right back down in there. Ugh. Oh, my fingers are not wanting to cooperate with me today. They're a little stiff because it's cold. And they tend to get that way when it gets cold. There we go. Now I just need to tie this off. Here we go. Doop. One more time for good measure. There we go. Alright. Now, what is this string? I don't know. And now I have a button on my slightly wonky little pouch. I really need to practice my hand sewing. Well, I do a little better when I'm, sitting in a chair, comfy chair with the proper setup for hand sewing, not sewing up under a camera on my table. There we go. There's a little pouch, and it has a little buttonhole I did by hand. That's pretty neat, huh? So that is our last little project for the Maker Advent Calendar, and I would show y'all the bag that came with it, except I haven't finished my bag yet, so I don't have one to show. I'm sure some people will share them in the groups or on Instagram. All I ask is that you wait till Christmas Day to do it, for those that wanted to wait till Christmas to open it. So you won't see me on Christmas Day. I'll probably be back maybe Sunday, something like that, okay? I know I fell off with the Vlogmas thing, but I just had, my son visiting, and I wanted to spend time with him and do stuff. Yeah, so I hope that y'all have enjoyed this. I really enjoyed doing it. I'll be talking about soon about some other things coming up that I'm planning on for the next year, so y'all be looking out for that. And I hope everybody has a wonderful Christmas, Happy New Year, and I will see y'all all later. Bye.